Hello guys, and welcome back to another cold episode. On today's episode, as you can tell by the title and the thumbnail, we are talking about the new Cyberdark support and the new structure deck that was added to Master Duel. I did go ahead and spend the money on the structure deck because it was actually fairly decent. It wasn't crazy, but it was fairly decent. And I did end up playing this in the Fusion Festival, so obviously we're only playing Fusion monsters. But it did pretty well. It was rather interesting. It doesn't compete very well against many of the top tier decks, but it's nice to, OTK your opponent. Also, it's incredibly cheap. It's mostly just, the URs are all just staples. So, that's basically it. You could also take these URs out and just play like Kaijus or other such things that are, going second options. And then we have the Chimera Tech Rampage Dragon as well as the Chimera Tech Over Dragon, which are both necessary at least at one. These are the only ones that are not included in the structure deck for some reason. I genuinely don't know why Chimera Tech Over Dragon is not included. Rampage Dragon makes a little bit more sense, but this one doesn't. So yeah, let's just do the card by card and explain some things. We're playing one Hers. When it's sent to the graveyard, searches out a Cyber Dragon. Natchter can special summon itself by discarding a monster from your hand, as well as it will then special summon a Cyber Dragon, basically. A Cyber Dragon or a Chimera from your graveyard. Triple Core searches a Cyber Speller Trap, which is invaluable. And then, of course, the one Cyber Dragon for our Cyber Dragon lineup. We are playing triple Cyberdark Cannon, which searches out a Cyberdark, as well as can send a monster to the graveyard when it's equipped to a monster, as well as if it's destroyed while equipped to a monster, it can draw you a card. This card's really, really good in this deck. And then we're playing 3 Cyberdark Claw. This is the other card that is really, really good. Reason being, if it's sent to the graveyard while equipped to a monster, you can add back a Cyberdark from your graveyard. You can also discard it to add a Cyberdark Speller Trap. Really good. Also, during damage calculation, you can send a monster from your extra deck to the graveyard. Both of these set up your graveyard for the fusion spells of Overload Fusion as well as Power Bond through the Chimera. We'll explain that in a second. Then we are playing one each of Horn, Edge, and Keel. All of these are basically necessary to get these guys onto the field as like equip monsters. When they're normal summon, they just equip. That's basically it. Edge is the best one, but even with that being said, we're still only playing the one because all of them are pretty bad. The main reason that we're playing one each of all of them is so that we can go into Cyberdark Dragon. This card's easier to summon as long as you send them necessary materials, but it does require 3 named materials. Sometimes it's easier to go into Cyberdarkness, which doesn't require the named materials. We're playing one Cyberdark Chimera. This card is easily searchable off of not only Cannon, but also the Realm and the Horizon. So even though we're only playing one, we have a million ways to see it. And the thing is, you can see it off of Core, because you can search Cyberdark Realm with Core, and then you can see it with that. So playing only one makes sense. But basically what you do is you discard a Speller Trap to add Power Bond to your hand. Then you can use the graveyard as well as your field for the Power Bond effect, basically, or just any fusion. You basically just get to banish, much like the the Overload Fusion. Very, very nice. Doesn't lock you into darks, and just allows you to OTK much more efficiently. Also, if it's sent to the graveyard instead of banished, it can send another monster to the graveyard, any of your Cyber cards. So very, very nice. Cyberdark monsters. So again, very nice. Sets up the graveyard. So you could potentially go like the Cyberdark Chimera, search out the Power Bond, send it to the graveyard by fusion summoning out this guy in order to send the last necessary Cyberdark potentially to your graveyard in order to then use your Power Bond to go into a Cyberdarkness or something along those lines. Make sense? Probably not. And then we're playing triple Maxi, triple Ash, Blossom, and one Jizukiru. It is a searchable Kaiju. That's the main reason. It's a light machine. That's basically it. Moving on to the spells, we are playing one Power Bond. Power Bond just allows you to fusion summon, doubles the attack of the fusion summoned monster. However, you do take the original attack's damage as effective damage at the end of the turn. So you do have to kind of keep in mind how much health that you will have left at the end of the turn. We're playing it 2 Overload Fusion. This card just allows you to fusion summon a dark monster by banishing fusion materials from the field or graveyard. Very, very nice. We're playing triple Cyber Emergence, which searches out a Cyber Dragon monster or a light machine that cannot be normal summoned or set. It's just a good card. We're playing one Cyber Repair Plant. This can search out your Jizukiru, and it can be searched off of the Cyber Dragon core. One Lightning Storm, triple Cybernetic Horizon. This one, you send a Cyber Machine and a Dark Dragon. So basically, you send a Cyberdark and a Cyber Dragon card to the graveyard to search out one of those other monsters. You send one from the hand and one from the grave. One from the hand, one from the deck. Thank you. Cyberdark Realm searches on activation a Cyberdark monster, as well as gives you an additional normal summon of said Cyberdark monster, or any Cyberdark monster. Pretty nice. And then the last 3 cards are 2 Twin Twisters and a Called By. There's a lot of back row in the Fusion Festival, so I made deck some back row hate, since I don't have triple Lightning Storm. Moving on to the extra deck, we are playing 2 Chimera Tech Rampage Dragon. This card pops cards when it's fusion summoned and can have triple attack, so it is very good for OTKing with Power Bond. We have double Cyber Twin Dragon. I never really summoned more than 1, but it's funny because we have 2 and we don't really need extra deck space. We are playing 2 Cyberdark Dragon. This one, you're almost never going to be able to summon multiple times, but you can send it to the graveyard to more effectively summon out this guy. Moving on, we are playing 2 Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon. This card is very good because you can kaiju your opponent with the Jizukiru and then summon out any of your Cyber Dragons in order to then just fuse away the kaiju. So now you've just given your opponent a monster and then taken it away. So yeah, very, very nice. Also, if they're playing a machine deck, you can just fuse away all of their monsters. It's very nice. We have Chimera Tech Over Dragon. This card is absolutely crazy and allows you to go for OTKs very effectively because it can just punch through so many monsters. We are playing 2 Cyber End Dragon. You will oftentimes send one to the graveyard, so having a second one to deal potential piercing is very nice. We are playing double Cyber Darkness Dragon. This card it's very nice, but it doesn't really. It's hard to summon, so most of the time you're not actually summoning it. So there you go. But we are playing 2 Cyber End Dragon, or Cyberdark End Dragon, which does require a Cyberdark Dragon as well as a Cyber End Dragon. And most of the time, the way that you are going to be able to summon this is by banishing the materials from the graveyard. You send a Cyberdark Dragon, you send a Cyber End Dragon, you overload fusion into this guy. This guy's absolutely crazy. He's a towers. He's unaffected by your opponent's activated effects, just straight up. If it's activated in effect, it's unaffected. Also, he can have multiple attacks per battle phase. So, very, very nice. Let's hop into the replays and see how this deck performs. Before we hop into the duels, let me just say that over 80% of the people who watch my content aren't subscribed. So, if you find yourself coming back on the regular, you can always subscribe. And if you end up finding that you don't like the content anymore, you can always unsubscribe later. It's free, it's fun, and it allows me to continue making content for you guys on the daily. So, if you like the content, consider subscribing. Anyway, let's hop into the duels. Alright, so here we are, going first once again. Now, this time, my opponent, for some reason, wanted me to go first. I don't know why, but okay. So we're going to try and do at least something. So we're going to go core here in order to search out the Cybernetic Horizon. Then with the Cyberdark Realm, we are going to search out the Cannon. Cannon's effect will activate. We will search out the Chimera. And then with the extra normal, we will special summon out the Chimera. Then we will use the Cybernetic Horizon to search out the Bond. Then we will just link everything up, or fuse everything away into the Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon. Then just pass the turn. We did end up sending a Keel to the graveyard as well, but not a whole lot that we can do with this. I think I did make a bit of a mistake. I could have gone with the Power Bond to potentially just make like a really big dude. But in all honesty, I didn't feel like that was necessary. And with Maxi and a Jizukiru, I felt a little bit better. But we are just going to... Oh. There you go. This is Fusion Destiny. Woo. Okay, we're just going to Maxi here. Makes sense, but given the fact that we actually have a Jizukiru, we're doing pretty good. So they're gonna send their Celestial and Dasher in order to special summon out their destroy Phoenix Enforcer. They're then going to normal summon Dark Grepher, which is 100 over our monsters, so they do get as much damage in as possible. They're also going to pop themselves in order to pop our Cyberdark Realm. Feels bad. We did draw Horn, which kind of does stuff, especially since we already have a Keel engrave. So if we have a way to get to Edge, potentially, we draw Ash Blossom, which is not the greatest. So there's that. But we do have this Jizukiru for our opponent's Destroy Phoenix Enforcer. So we are going to tribute over the DPE, which means that it doesn't come back. But they had this weird Lord of the Lair in their graveyard, which if a dark monster you control is tributed, you can special summon it from the graveyard. Turns out, that is exactly what happened. But we do have Core's effect in order to special summon out the Natchster. Natchster's effect will special summon out the Chimera because it does have 2100 defense. Kind of weird. But then we can go for the Power Bond. Now, this is big brain. I went for Chimera Tech over Dragon. First, because it sends everything away. Sends all of your cards away to the graveyard. But with the 3 materials that we used to fusion summon this, we get 3 attacks. So we can attack over all of their monsters, which is very, very nice. Chimera is also going to activate, allowing us to pitch another card to the graveyard, which is going to be the Cyberdark Edge. Then we are going to activate the effect of Overload Fusion in order to banish 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 of our monsters in order to go into Cyber Darkness Dragon. This card is then going to equip the Natchster from the graveyard to itself in order to gain another 200 attack. That 200 attack doesn't come up, but it's very funny. Anyway, we're going to attack over everything and then attack in for just over lethal. Good game. Alright, so here we are going second. Yay. I think I won the coin flip on this one, so I gotta choose to go second, especially since we are playing against Cyber Dragon. That is very nice to be able to go second. I see the core come down and I go, no, thanks, though. But we are in the mirror match, which is very, very nice. Very nice. They're going to go for a Power Bond at this point, which is a bit odd, but I don't hate it. They're going to go for the Chimera Tech Rampage Dragon. They're going to mill some cards. They're going to notably mill a Hers. Hers effect is going to add back the Cyber Dragon core. So at the very least, they have core as follow-up. So that's kind of worrisome. They have 3 cards in hand. One of them knowingly is a core. However, we draw Max C, so I'm like, there's a chance we could do this. We didn't draw the best hand as well, so we're going to go Cyberdark Cannon for a Chimera, and then we are going to search out a core of our own. We're going to normal summon the core and activate it in order to search out the Cyberdark Realm. Then I will activate the Claw. The reason I do this the way that I do is because I need to at least get Cyberdark Realm, so I normal summon the core to potentially try and bait out an Ash Blossom, as well as that's why I activate the Cannon first, and then Emergence, and then just like, hey, hit something with Ash. Kind of thing. They didn't have it, so it's all good. We search out the Cyberdark Realm in order to search out the Chimera. I searched Edge here. Then with the extra normal, we go for the Chimera. Chimera pitching the Cybernetic Horizon to search out the Power Bond. Then we will go for the Power Bond here, and we will fuse off all 3 to go for a Chimera Tech Over Dragon. Now, you might be wondering, why didn't you go for Twin? Why didn't you go for this? Why didn't you go for that? I literally couldn't. This was the only option that I could have gone for, so that's what we went for. However, he's also very large. Yeah, he's just big, he's a big dude. Anyway, so we are going to send everything away, but we are also going to send another card to the graveyard with the Chimera. We're going to send Horn here, and then we are going to search out with Hers in order to add back a core as additional follow-up. We're going to send the Cyberdark Realm to the graveyard. We're going to attack in for 2200, and since I cannot attack directly, I can only attack monsters. We're just going to end the turn, take 32, and pass. Alright, here we go. So, they activate core starting off, and I'm going to chain the Max C because give me them draws, baby. So they're going to special summon off of this core the Cyber Dragon. I'm going to draw a Ash Blossom, and then they are going to normal summon a Keel, and then proceed to go and Chimera Fortress Dragon, or Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon away our really big monster and deal 3k to us. Now, we did end up getting to draw 2 cards off of that, which is very nice. We did draw Natchster, which is incredible. And then we draw Maxi as the last card. Feels good. We're going to go for the Cyber Dragon core, and they are going to chain Cyberdark Invasion. This card Does nothing. Don't play this card. Someone in chat, or someone on my stream said to play this card. They're lying. Don't play this card. This card is bad. It doesn't do anything. Anyway, we are going to go for the Cyber Repair Plant to search out the Jizukiru, and then I'm going to tribute over their monster. Because guess what? This card cannot be used as fusion material. Do you want to know why that's important? I'll tell you why that's important in a second. We're going to pitch this Maxi to special summon out the Natster. Natster will then special summon back the Chimera, and then we will fuse off everything into a Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon of our own. At this point, my opponent scoops it up, but that is exactly why we had to Kaiju them first. That's why we searched out the Kaiju. That's why we searched out the way to search the Kaiju. That's why we Kaiju them. Make sense? Makes sense. Alright, so here I am actually playing in a duel room against some viewers with this deck as well, and my opponent has ever so graciously bricked. They have Shaddoll Fusion, 2 other L Shaddoll Fusions, a Harpy's Feather Duster, and a Squamata. So, okay, not the greatest, but you will see that this duel is absolutely insane. I'm not even going to commentate too much. I'm just going to kind of let it play out because this one is very, very long. So we're just going to fast forward through everything. I'm going to get my searches on. I'm actually going for something very interesting here. So I'm going to send a whole bunch of cards to the graveyard, and as you can see, we have Horn, Edge, and Keel in our hand. We're also going to search out the Cyber Dragon and then special summon it because why not? Then I'm going to normal summon the Edge because it's funny, and then we will go for the Power Bond here in order to go into Cyberdark Dragon. Cyberdark Dragon's effect will activate in order to equip a card, but that doesn't really matter. What we are going to then do is go for the Overload Fusion. Overload Fusion is going to banish the Cyber End Dragon, as well as the Cyberdark Dragon that we had on our field and in the grave, in order to special summon out the Cyberdark End Dragon. This card is a boss, and you will see why in a second. So we're going to use its effect in order to equip a Cyber Dark Claw to us, and then we're going to also use the Claw effect in order to send a Cyber Darkness Dragon, but the Squamata does eat our Cyber Dragon, so there's that. We're going to take 1,000 at the end phase due to Power Bond. We did end up dealing 5k to them as well, but they are going to then Harpy's Feather Duster us. Yeah, it's actually better for us because we get to add back this Claw. Yes, you can add Claw off of Claw. I don't know why that's the case, but it is. They're going to go for it in El Shaddoll construct here, and they put it in an attack position, which is not a good idea. They're going to mill some cards, as well as draw a Raigeki, which is hilarious, by the way. And then they will go to the end phase, after setting 2 and passing. We're going to activate the effect of our Cyberdark End Dragon. They are going to special summon back Beast, and we are going to equip a cannon here. I'm going to activate the Claw here in order to search out a Cyberdark Realm. Cyberdark Realm effect is going to allow us to search out the Chimera. We're then going to proceed to the attack, and deal 22. Now, Construct activates its effect, which means we're unaffected. So that's why we didn't die there. I'm going to set the Chimera because at this point it kind of doesn't do anything. So I'm just going to set it and pass. They're going to flip up Beast, draw 2, discard 1. They're going to discard the Shaddoll Dragon, which pops our monster. And then we are going to draw a card and be drawn to another realm. They're going to go for another Shaddoll Fusion and then go for Construct. Construct is going to send a Wendy. Wendy's effect is going to activate. They're going to set the Squamata. And then they are going to flip up Wendy, to which they realize that they've already used Wendy's effect. So they will just fuse into the App Clone. They're going to try and negate the effect of the Cyberdark End Dragon. Doesn't do anything. Anyway, pass turn. So, my turn. I'm going to activate the effect of the Cyberdark Realm. Turns out, I literally have no targets for it. So, whoops. Anyway, we're going to shuffle back a core and grab ourselves a Jizukiru. And at this point, I actually make a huge mistake. Here is why. App Clone specifically says, cannot be destroyed by battle. I didn't know this. So, what I ended up doing with this Jizukiru is I tribute over the set monster. Now, this isn't an inherently bad play, especially since I forgot that they had the spell that they literally just banished with Reshaddoll Incarnation, which is going to set the Jizukiru. I was like, oh yeah, I'll just tribute over, and then I'll attack over, and it'll be game, because they only have 800 life points. Cool. Fun. Fair. Balanced. Turns out, they're just going to flip it right face down. And I'm like, oh no. Okay, I don't have lethal. I'm going to activate Claw in order to search Horizon. Why did I do this? I don't know. At this point, it becomes basically a deck out game. Okay, so they're going to add back a Shaddoll Fusion and pass the turn. We could only have 1 attack, so there's that. Then Ecclesia is going to add itself back. Cypher Gear Gamma. There you go. They're going to special summon out the Fallen of Volbaz. Fallen of Volbaz doesn't have any targets. They're going to go for the Shaddoll Fusion. Go for the Shekinaga here. They're going to go and activate Ariel's effect in order to banish some cards, and then proceed to the end phase. At this point, we just kind of sit here, look at each other for a while. I'm going to attack in, but yeah, I'm just going to kind of fast forward because nothing happens for a really long time. Alright, so at this point, they grab themselves a Fusion Destiny. And this is probably the biggest mistake that they make, because now I am actually ahead in cards. And if neither of us have an out to the Cyberdark End Dragon or the App Cologne, respectively, we can't really do anything. So we're just going to kind of sit here until we deck out. But now, all of a sudden, I am ahead in card advantage, and I will end up winning due to deck out at this point. But they are going to go for the DPE here. They're going to pop a card and then go for the DPE effect. Now, I'm going to show you something very interesting. This card has another effect that very, very rarely comes up, but it does come up specifically against DPE with a Cyberdark End Dragon on your side of the field. This is a very rare instance, but it does come up. So let me read this last effect. Once per turn, if you equip a monster from your graveyard by the effect of a Cyberdark monster that activated when it was normal or special summoned, you can equip from your opponent's graveyard instead. Basically, what this means is that, well, I'll just show you. So I'm going to activate the effect in order to try and equip a monster, but they are going to pop with their DPE. This is a big mistake. Reason being, I steal their DPE. I can steal from the opponent's graveyard their own DPE. Cool. That's it. That's all that happens. At this point, it's just towering up and passing for like 6 turns, so I'll be back. Now, real quick, we are back. Nothing has really changed, but I did want to say that Shaddoll's actually don't have an in-archetype out to this card. Even Shaddoll Schism does not work. Shaddoll Schism is an activated effect. You activate to Fusion Summon, and then send away a monster. So, even Cyberdark End doesn't fall to Schism, just so you know. However, there is an out that most people play, but it does require specifically Super Polymerization, as well as 2 dark monsters on your side of the field. At this point, my opponent just realizes that it's not worth it, and they are going to lose, so they end up surrendering. Yeah, that's fair. I thought I had an out. I did end up drawing a Overload Fusion, but alas, it doesn't do anything. There actually is a way that I could have summoned a second one of this, which is hilarious, but yeah, it doesn't really do anything. So there's that. So here we are with the deck again, and honestly, this deck is pretty entertaining. It's not good. Like, straight up, it's just not good. It has so many issues. It's inconsistent. It wants to go second. It can't play a lot of good going second tools, right? It needs to play board breakers and see them. It doesn't have the ability to see all of the fusion material as well as the fusion spells all the time. It's just, there's a lot of problems, but it is very fun, and OTKing your opponent with something like a Power Bond is, for some reason, so satisfying. It sucks when it happens to you, when you're just like, oh, they just Power Bonded and then I lost the game. But man, when you actually do it, oh, it's so fun. Being on the other side, it's just very fun. But in all honesty, it is a fairly entertaining strategy. Being able to summon something like a Cyber End Dragon and just deal piercing battle damage to something like an Aluber is hilarious. Just, yeah, Power Bond, Cyber End Dragon, kill your opponent. Fantastic. There is just a lot of things that I enjoy about this deck and the way that it plays. But in all honesty, it's not very good. I personally probably wouldn't play this past gold, just because it's so inconsistent and it would be very difficult to get wins off of a lot of the top tier decks. But all in all, still very fun. So that's going to be it for this episode. I hope that you guys did indeed enjoy. If you did, a like is very much so appreciated. And if you want to consider supporting me, you can check out the Discord and the Patreon links down below. If you did enjoy yourself and want to consider subscribing, that is also linked down below. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and remember to always stay frosty. Bye-bye.